Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by Dan and LB. How are you, gentlemen?
Very well, mate. Very, very well. Waking up and, yeah, it's a beautiful day, man. I enjoyed the game last night, so I'm ready to talk about it.
Did you enjoy it, though, really? Was that entertaining? You know what I mean? The team you're playing against, they were just down bad, and you just piled misery on this team. Did you not have any sort of guilty conscience?
Would you not have enjoyed that, LB? I mean, I know you only scraped over the line against them 2-1, you said, at their place, but we absolutely demolished them, mate. And it was great to see. Yeah. I was happy with it, man. And I have been. I mean, I said in the group this morning that we haven't scored 6 goals away since only 3 weeks ago. It's brilliant, man. We're playing so well at the moment. I'm here for it.
I can't relate. I can't relate at all right now. I can't. Viewers, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing and go and check out the squad as well. QR code below me. My brand new channel with a huge podcast that's being launched very soon. So go and subscribe. Turn on bell notifications on that channel as well. I didn't want to start with Man United, actually. You battered us, really. Maybe not in terms of the scoreline up until the end, but I did also hear what you phoned in and said to Saeed on Discord or wherever it may be. United, we were shocking at the weekend. Deserved victory for yourselves, LB.
Yeah, I think actually, I don't know what you think, but I think that just before you scored, obviously, I think you scored in like the 7th or 8th minute. I didn't think you guys looked up for it at all. I really don't. We were moving the ball well. I don't think you'd really had much of the ball at all. And I could see a couple of players not really giving it 100%. Ball goes down the other end. Rashford scores a screamer. Credit to him. You could see with the celebrations. I looked at Scott McTominay celebrating. You could almost tell that the players were in shock almost that they'd scored a goal. And then you sort of got into the game a little bit in that first half. And to be fair, you wasn't too bad in that first half. And if Rashford had his shooting boots on and maybe was a little bit better, you could have found yourself a further goal ahead. But of course, we had our own chances as well. But in the second half, mate, I just thought it was absolutely embarrassing. I've never seen Manchester United defend like that not just at the Etihad, just like at Old Trafford when we've played you. And by defending, I don't mean like defenders in like, oh, that's a great defensive performance, kind of like what you did at Liverpool. You just accepted in that second half that you was getting beat. You was played like a relegation side. When Luton Town come to the Etihad or Sheffield United, and I'm sure it's the same for Dan. Like, you kind of expect it, right? These are teams that have just been promoted from the Championship. Obviously, the first year they don't want to be getting absolutely panned. You don't expect this from Man United, and I just thought it was completely embarrassing. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous that this manager is coming. And I'm hearing people say, well, what other choice did the manager have? Well, the manager's been here now, 18 months? At what point, like, are you going to say to the manager, like, going to the Etihad and sitting on the edge of the penalty area is probably not good enough? Like, you have to have something. Listen, and I don't know, obviously, the full details on Rashford about his fitness levels. And I thought that substitution was wild because he was literally the only... I don't particularly think he actually had a great game, but he was kind of like your only threat. Anthony came on and done nothing. Scott McTominay, don't remember him touching the ball at all. Casemiro looked leggy. Kobe Minu, the only player in that midfield that can actually sort of play under pressure and play out, was subbed off as well. I just think everything the manager got wrong. And if it wasn't for Marcus Rashford sticking one into the top bins, I think it would have been 5 or 6. Because I think that sort of give you guys a little belief. And for 20, 30 minutes after the goal, you actually played all right. But it's just absolutely wild that that's the state of your football club at the moment. And I'm not even saying that as a bantery situation. I'm being deadly serious that, you guys have spent £1 billion since Ferguson left, and that's the best you've got to offer. You know what I mean? I just think it's
embarrassing. The way we played on the day didn't so much embarrass me. It was more the state of the club, if that makes sense. And I'm also at a point, I'm seeing Mark Goldbridge at the moment out here. I'd get rid of the players before the manager, consistently backing the manager, backing the manager, backing the manager. I just think, I understand it to a degree that we have to stick with the manager, but it has to be a manager who, from the beginning, there's a genuine plan of action to improve us as a football team. Where we go by the, everything's always like written down on the back of a cigarette packet on the back of a napkin. There is no real plan about what we've tried to achieve since Ten Hag's come in and all the previous managers. And you can see the proof in that. It comes to fruition on the field of play. And I am not frustrated at the players for not being up for it anymore. I've almost got to this point where I think, how can they be up for it when they know they're not being coached right, trained right, drilled right to be able to compete? Now, do I think City have better players than Manchester United? Yes. But I see worse teams with worse players than Man United put up a better fight. We, after 18 months under this manager, after 400 million pounds invested into him, and plus hundreds of millions being spent prior to that, we should be able to put up a better fight against Manchester City. Yes, you've got Pep, and that is a game changer because he's the best manager in the world, but we should be able to put up a fight. And there is a lack of ideas. And you mentioned Mainu, and Mainu here is the standout example. The reason that he's the only guy that we have who looks good, his touch is good, his confidence is there, he likes playing through the lines, is because he's only just come through our academy. He hasn't been whittled down after 18 months, 2 years, 3 years of poor coaching, poor training. Non-Man United fans don't get this, and lots of Reds ignore it. There is no pathway between our academy into our first team. They play different styles of football. The club is so disjointed, it is unfreaking believable. And I think for me, that's the issue that I have most with Man United right now. It's the fans ignoring that notion. Now, I'm not even saying that Ten Hag's a bad coach. He may go elsewhere with a real plan, a proper structure, and do really well. He may do that, but it isn't going to happen for him at Man United. I want to read you guys the list here. And I've got a comment here that says, sorry, you're talking nonsense. That's not a rebuttal, my friend. Tell me what's nonsense and we can talk about it. I want to read you a list. Okay, here, a list of records broken by Ten Hag. Strap yourselves in and get some popcorn. United hadn't lost 13 games by Christmas since 1939. And then Ten Hag came. Man United hadn't gone 4 games in a row without scoring since 1992 until Ten Hag. Man United hadn't finished in the bottom of their Champions League group since 2006 until Ten Hag. Man United hadn't lost back-to-back games to West Ham since 2007 until Ten Hag. No Man United manager has conceded 20 goals to Liverpool and City in their first 7 games against them since the 1800s. Manchester United have never finished with as few as 5 points in a Champions group stage in the competition's history until Ten Hag. No English club has ever conceded 15 goals in a Champions League group stage competition in history until Ten Hag. Man United have never lost 4 of their 6 Champions League games in the competition's history. Manchester United had never failed to keep a clean sheet in 5 of 6 Champions League group games in the competition's history. Manchester United had not lost 12 of their opening 23 games in a season ever. Bournemouth had never won at Old Trafford until Ten Hag. Bournemouth had never scored 3 goals at Old Trafford until Ten Hag. Bournemouth had never kept a clean sheet at Old Trafford until Ten Hag. Manchester United had never lost 7 of their opening 16 Premier League games. Man United hadn't lost back-to-back league games against Newcastle since 1972. Man United hadn't lost 3 games in a row to Newcastle since 1922. Manchester United hadn't lost 6 of their opening 14 league games in a season. I might have just gone backwards a bit here by mistake. No, I haven't. This is still going. Sorry. Man United had never conceded 3+ goals in 4 different Champions League games. Manchester United hadn't lost a game whilst leading by 2+ goals since 2014. Manchester United had never lost this many points from winning positions in Champions League history. Man United had not conceded 4+ goals to 2 Champions League group games ever until Ten Hag. No team had ever given away 4 penalties in their first 4 Champions League games. Manchester United hadn't lost 8 of their opening 15 games of a league campaign since 1962. Newcastle hadn't won at Old Trafford since 2013. Manchester United hadn't lost twice in a row. Sorry, I already mentioned that one against Newcastle. Galatasaray hadn't won a game on English soil in a 117-year existence. Man United had not lost their opening 2 Champions League games ever in the club's history. And Manchester United have never conceded 7 goals in their opening 2 Champions League games ever. That is the list of records that have been broken by Ten Hag.
Otherwise, okay, though.
Otherwise, brilliant. And this is the thing for me. I wouldn't say they're all his fault if you actually went into granular detail about all of them. But the players are not playing for him. They don't look as interested as they should. I'm not saying they're throwing him under the bus because they hate him and dislike him. I just think they're like, this isn't working. I look at some of our players who have regressed, and you don't need to like them. You don't need to rate them. This feeds into rivals' hands. But just go back and watch, boys. A Bruno compilation, even from his first season at the club. Forget the goals and the assists. Just watch him on the ball. Go back and look at Rashford. I know he had a good year last year, but we've changed our style and system again. We were trying to play low block against City at the weekend, and we still were affording KDB the freedom of the parking behind our midfield. That's a system issue. The club is rotten. Any Man United fan deluding themselves that Ten Hag is going to turn this round, you're hurting the club. He needs to go in the summer. It's the first thing that the new sporting director, the new people running the club have got to do. I agree with Goldbridge. A number of these players have got to go if they don't want to be here. Open heart surgery is needed. A rebuild is needed, because to play that way against City, home and away consistently for the past decade, it's just an embarrassment, especially since Pep has been there. Like, we had some good results against you before Pep, but since then, I know we had a few good sort of smash and grabs with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Most of that was with no fans as well. But outside of that, it's an absolute abomination what my club has become. Those lists of records have been broken. Things like Galatasaray hadn't won on English soil in their existence until they played Man United.
DJ Ten Hag, he's breaking records, man.
Crazy.
I tell you, he needs to go. I can't actually believe he's still there. I can't believe, like, Mark Goldbridge. I think he's a wally. Like, the standards are on the floor, mate. If he wants Ten Hag, he's not the problem. It's these players. If he's still sticking up for this, his standards. Didn't he grow up with Roy Keane and Paul Scholes in his side? Didn't he grow up with Sir Alex Ferguson? Didn't he grow up winning trophies? Didn't he see trebles? And this guy's trying to stick up for a guy who's just broken all them records for the wrong reasons. What the hell is going on here? And he ain't the only one, by the way. There's a lot of people that come on social media and start giving you Bruno stats, comparing to KDB and Erdegaard. Get in the bin, man. Roy Keane shit like bigger turds than bloody Bruno Fernandes. Do you know what I'm saying? You grew up with Keane and Scholes in your midfield, mate. Bruno Fernandes is now getting told this is our captain, this is our leader, prancing around on the floor. I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. But wow, fans sticking up for this still? Fans are sticking up for this still. I can't believe it. For me, it's an embarrassment. I think the standards are totally on the floor. And if Man United carry on this way, which I hope they do, by the way, then it's going to be long, man, because they ain't getting anywhere. I saw them against Man City. I didn't expect anything less. I don't know why people were shocked. Oh, my God, I thought Man United were poor. Did you think they were going to be good then? Did you think they're going to come and play football? I thought they were absolutely embarrassing.
I was shocked that we only conceded 3, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And don't get me wrong, right?
Varane and Johnny Evans and the goalkeeper between them were the reason why we didn't concede more. Because they actually had very good games. They had very good games.
I totally agree. And I look at Manchester United, and I sat there, and this was real talk with my mate in the pub, and I went, tell me how many of them players you want in the Arsenal first 11. And he went, oh, none, mate. And I thought, hang on a minute, let's actually look at it properly. And I went, no, you're right. You're actually right. I don't want any of them. They are shocking. I might take a couple in my squad. I ain't taking any of them in my first 11. This is Manchester United and Arsenal. 5 years ago, you'd be looking at what Arsenal players you'd want in that Man United setup, right? Now we're talking about Arsenal and Manchester United in a 5-year difference, and all of a sudden things are very, very different. And the way you're run, the way that for Ten Hag still to be there now proves you're absolutely in the river, man, as a club, because I don't know why he's still there. The players clearly don't listen to him or want to work for him. I think the players have unbelievably poor mentality. I look at the Rashford situation, bangs in a goal like that. This is a Manchester United fan, right? This is a guy who lives and breathes Manchester United, comes out in interviews and says, never question my commitment to this club. Look at the state of him. That performance, other than the goal, was a shambles. The guy's through on goal. He's just got to head it. Yes, he's up against a very quick player in Kyle Walker, but I'm being told that Rashford's pace is electric, so he should be all right there. The guy controls it. It goes behind him. Yeah. Then he goes up the other end in the second half, falls on the floor, goes mental, wants foul. Get up, mate. Try and put the ball in the back of the net. What are you doing? Oh, now they've scored. Well done, fella. This Rashford kid, man, I tell you this now, one of the most overrated players I've ever heard of and seen in my life. I don't get this. He's our Mbappe. 150 million 3 years ago. This kid was worth 150 million. Oh my God, mate! The
Well,
guy has scored about
But he-
14
but
goals
he-
in one season, and
but he,
everyone went,
but he,
"There he
but he
is.
was,
He's
but
back."
he was worth a lot of money. That wasn't Man United fans. That was
Should have got rid
literally
of him then,
that's
Tel.
what the
Should have got rid
market
of him for
value
that
was.
much.
Again, where I'm going to defend Rashford, I'm not saying that his performances deserve defending. Is that he is just another victim of what this club does to you. There is a reason that
Do you not
every
think he's
player.
overhyped though, Tel? Real talk. Do you not think he's
Yeah,
overhyped?
yes and no. Yes and no. I think there was a lot of talent there. And of course, he hasn't fulfilled that hype. But name me a player that we've signed who was world class when we signed him, top class when we signed him, or a brilliant talent that emerged in the last decade, who's at the very least maintained their levels, if not got better at Man United. So I'm not saying you're wrong about Rashford, but I'm at a point as a Man United fan where I almost don't care about the conversations about the players anymore. Everything you're saying about Rashford's true. He is not of the standard right now. His performances are bad. But Man United fans have been bogged down for too long in these player in, player out, manager in, manager out debates. None of that fixes our football club. The culture at our club and how we're run leads to this. Paul Pogba was one of the best midfielders in the world when we signed him. There is no debate about that. He was in the World Team of the Year, killing it for France. What he was doing in Serie A was massive. He comes to Man United and systematically regresses. We have signed a lot of top players in the last 10 years. We've signed a lot of young talent that everyone's gone, wow, look who Man United have signed. None of them have really done a thing. Bruno came in, first 2 years, was astonishingly good for us. Regression, become a whinger, become a moaner, become a baby. There's something about our club that... You ever seen that advert where the guy touches Skittles and everything falls apart and turns into Skittles? That's kind of like Man United. Everything we touch dies and just falls
toxic,
apart.
Terry. It's toxic. And this is where I have to sort of agree with you here a little bit and maybe disagree with Dan in the sense that, yes, I do think Rashford's overrated, but United have to take some responsibility in the downfall of Rashford's career. Because you're not telling me that if Rashford was at City, he'd be like this. Because he would have been under a proper structure, a proper manager who could coach him. He would have been around better players and a better environment. Not a toxic environment, which Manchester United is. It would have been managed properly, like Foden. And like you've got at Arsenal, bro, with like the Sakas and that. You know, you never get any of these questions with Saka. You don't get them with Foden because we've got a proper structure and a proper club that's managing them. So yes, on one hand, there is some individual responsibility on the likes of Rashford to, you know, not be as overrated, no, to be better on the pitch rather, you know what I mean? And maybe to stop releasing statements every 5 minutes. That's fair. But United, you also have to say, well, United have created this. You know what I mean? This is the environment. United's such a toxic environment.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
And listen, I think this new guy that's going to come in with Omar and all the new board, I think they're going to rip it apart. I think Man United, yeah, you know, Ragnick said they need open heart surgery. I think you're going to get open heart surgery. And I think that club is going to be ripped apart from top to bottom, which is what's needed. That manager, by the way, is gone in the summer.
Oh, he's finished.
100%.
He's finished.
There is not a chance that manager continues next year because there's no way Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in. Omar's coming in. This other guy from Newcastle, if he comes in as well, are looking at this manager and going, you know what, you're actually a decent... They're not going to do that. You know what I mean? They're going to get somebody else and they're going to get their man. That's what all new owners did. We like when Sheikh Mansour came in. He got rid of Mark Hughes straight away and brought in Mancini. All new owners always want their own new man, and that will 100% happen. The players, that has to go. That you've got to sort that out because there's a lot of players at that football club that are one, ass, not good enough for Man United, and two, toxic. Yeah, and this is a difficult one with Bruno because I know, Terry, Bruno splits your fan base down the middle. Yeah, you've got a lot of fans that just look at his output, look at the contributions, and then you've got the other half who just think this guy lacks real quality, spams balls into the box and just moans. That's a big call. That's a big decision that your club's got to make. But your club is going to be ripped apart. And I don't think it's going to be pretty for the next 18 months, 2 years, personally. But what you should get at the end of that is a structure that you can then believe in taking your club forward for the long term.
And I totally agree with you. And when it comes to Rashford and Bruno, there is a big divide. And the divide is it's not 50-50 either. It's split into categories. You get some that were Martial and Pogba fanboys, and there's been a fight between those two fan bases. But I don't really care about them because anyone that's a Player FC person first is not a Man United fan. So their opinion about my club becomes less relevant, in my humble opinion, because you're not actually a supporter of my club. So I don't take your opinion on what's going to make my club better too seriously, if I'm being, especially when you're a nameless, faceless person on Twitter. You then get individuals that are obsessed with technical ability, and they just despise what Bruno and Marcus Rashford are. And the problem is with these individuals is that they are going to hate on the club pretty much no matter what we do if we're not playing a brand of football that they like. So we could be at the top, we could be winning trophies, but if it isn't done in the technical way they want, they're still going to have a problem with it. So I can respect that because they're just talking about football from their perspective, if that makes sense. And then you get this group that loved Bruno when he first came in, like me. We're now split in two. I think there's a very good football player in Bruno Fernandes. There's a reason that every single professional that speaks about him raves about him. There's something within that. But I believe he's also become a victim of Manchester United. My view on the matter is I think we need to get rid of the crap first. Of course we do. But I think there needs to be some heavyweight casualties in this rebuild. I think that there need, and it could be Bruno, it could be Rashford, it could be both, where they may just have been so tarnished physically and mentally by the way this club has been run that they just need to be moved on so somebody else can come in and it just removes that problem altogether. And that's what I think a lot of United fans are ignoring in this whole circumstance is there is problems, but not every problem is the same. Like some United fans, I can't believe some United fans are happy with the idea that Varane's going to go. He's our best defender. He is, but can he really play 2 games a week in a team that's going to play high-intensity football like you want? The answer is no. I don't think his body can. So you have to look to move him on as well. That isn't saying that Maguire's better than him. It's just looking at that individual in isolation. And Man United fans are so angry and so frustrated about the overarching situation. They very rarely now have constructive, meaningful conversations about the football club. It's all player in, player out. Yeah, but you rate this dead baller and I like this guy. And you said this about this manager 3 years ago. Now look where we are. And it's just a case of we've all got some stuff right. We've all got some things wrong. But the one thing that hasn't happened, and I was called out on this the other day, saying, Terry, I can't believe you want another reset. And I read the tweet and I laughed out loud. I was sitting by myself. I must have looked like a right nutter. Started laughing. But we never had a reset. All we do is add a manager to the shit situation that already exists and get him to try and manage a bad situation. We are quite literally the definition of papering over cracks. Yeah. That's all we do. We don't fix the subsidence. We don't fix the foundations. We don't rip out and solve the problem. We just put new wallpaper up and move new furniture in. And in 18 months, when the subsidence has got worse and the cracks are back, do you know what I mean? There's dust everywhere. We're wondering why our new sofa's full of shit. We didn't fix the problem in the first place. And Man United fans have got to wake up and smell the coffee. But the one thing I don't disagree with you at all, LB. I think that the structure's right, culture's right from the summer. You bring in the right manager with the right mentality. The one thing you can get very quickly is better football. And if there's better football, a better brand of football, it gives you something to hold. It gives you something to hanker onto. It gives you something to look at least look forward. I haven't enjoyed watching Man United play football for really and truly. There was a few months last year I did, but I haven't really enjoyed watching us play football for 5 or 6 years. That's painful. So if we have that at the very least where we say, well, I'm enjoying the football. We know there's huge holes in the squad to fill, but the football looks great. Most Man United fans will get behind that. They really will. But yeah, it's crazy. Would I take Xavi? No, I wouldn't. There is reports today that we're looking at Zerbi. What do you guys make of the Zerbi to Man United?
Mate, if you want to hold L's and allow Villa to put 6 past you and Luton to put 4 past you and all this guy, what is it with this guy? He plays very attractive football from outside, from the back, so now he can go and manage United and Chelsea. I don't get the hype with this guy, man. I don't know what he's done. What is it that he's done at Brighton that we think, cool, I tell you what, Man United must be absolutely like on their knees to get this bloke in. Nah, man, go and get a winner. Go and get someone who has a CV that says, I win. Not someone who says, I can play around at the back really nice if you like, and I can hold 6s and 4s to Luton, but sometimes I get good 2-1 victories. I don't get this De Zerbi, man. I don't understand this loving affair with him. If you look at his record, how many games he's lost at Brighton, and how many games he's won at Brighton, come back to me and say that it's decent, because it ain't outstanding. I don't get this love for him. Listen, I hope he goes, because it will be a failure. And I want Man United to fail, right? Because for me, I've hated them growing up. But if you actually want someone to actually take you forward and go with a new project of people that know what they're doing, or apparently know what they're doing, if they hire De Zerbi, it'll prove to me they don't know what they're doing. And it'll just be another 10 arc, and it will go wrong again. That is a stupid appointment for me. Absolutely crazy. Go and get someone who knows what they're doing. Go and get someone who can win. And there's no reason why in 2 seasons and 4 transfer windows, you can't go and give Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal a game. Absolutely no reason at all. You're Man United, the biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world. But going and getting De Zerbi, I ain't seen enough from him, man. I'll tell you that. I don't know what LB thinks, but I think that'd be a stupid move, man.
Well, listen, there's pros and cons to the move. Yeah. The pros is that this guy would 100% implement a style of play for Manchester United, right? So instantly the football improves. Yeah. Now, the question will be is how far can this guy take them? And you know, has he got the ability to get big results against the likes of City, Arsenal, Liverpool? Because ultimately that's where United want to be. They want to be competing for titles. I think it's a brave call. I do think it's a brave call. I do think it sorts out an immediate problem of the style of football. But are you just kicking the can down the road for maybe 2 years, you know, down the road where you go, actually, this guy's probably not going to take us to that next level? Don't know. That you'll have to wait and see. So you want like a more experienced manager? What, someone like a Nagelsmann? Like a Flick, someone like that? That's cool. That's cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, the question would be is why would you go for De Zerbi if you could get someone like a Flick or a Nagelsmann? Because both of them two could implement a style of football. So what would be the reason to get De Zerbi over those two type of managers?
De Zerbi's situation is really funny because this time last year, I'm not saying I don't know what you were saying about it, Dan, but they were flying high and it was flavor of the month. Because of some of the poor results this year, the stock has kind of dropped in him. I'm not adverse to getting him based on it really depends upon the circumstances. It depends on who we can get and who's available. Depends on what brand of football we want. But there's a manager that I've started doing a little bit more reading into, a little bit more research into in recent weeks. And I'm starting to, again, I'd like Alonso. I think Alonso is one of the next great managers. I think he's absolutely class. I would love Diego Simeone. And a lot of people say the football is bland and whatever. I've watched enough Atti games, maybe not against the better teams. I don't think the football's anywhere near as bad as people want. But if the club decide that they want to play a far more flamboyant style of football, it probably wouldn't be him. But I'm starting to like the idea of Inzaghi.
No, I don't see that happening at all.
I don't see it happening, but I'm just in terms of a name. But this is the point I'm making.
That's a better name, though. That's a better name.
But it's a better name. But the point is this. By the way, I'm not convinced. I used to like the idea of Nagelsmann. Something about him I'm not convinced about. However, if you can't get Inzaghi's and Alonso's and Simeone's, then you're moving into that next echelon down of managers. And that's when names like, by the way, I do think if De Zerbi took over Bayern Munich, he'd win trophies. And so, yes, having trophies on your CV as a manager is important, but who you manage in what league, you know, most of the managers that we say are rubbish. If they took over Bayern Munich or PSG, they'd probably win trophies in a 2 to 3 year period. So, you judge Mo, stop it. No, I'm saying I think he looks really good. But if we can't get a manager like an Inzaghi and we're looking in the next category down, that's when you have to start looking at and considering the likes of De Zerbi as and this may sound a bit disrespectful towards him, but maybe as a little bit of a stopgap. Maybe someone that can set the tone, make the football better, help start to raise the standards. Because I look at it like Arsenal situation. Now, it looks like Arteta, and we'll get onto you later, could go on to be the man to win major trophies. But if he isn't, he has still done a very important job, which was raising the standards. I don't think Arsenal could have attracted one of the top 2, 3, 4 managers in the world 5 years ago. I just don't think you were in a position to do it. Now, Arsenal fans will say, yes, we could have done, but you didn't. You didn't, and I don't think you could personally. So if Man United can't get the best, the alternative is you get no manager. You have to go for somebody. So depending on if for instance we could get Inzaghi or we could get Simeone and we turn them down for De Zerbi, I'm a little concerned about that. So I'm not going to sit here and slag the man off and say he's absolutely useless because he might end up being my manager. I'm just not going to put that out there. Circumstances may lead to someone of his kind of stature in the game right now. But do I think Nagelsmann, do I think a Flick, do I think these individuals are the ones that are going to get us back to the peak of our powers? No. I think it may take 2 managers to genuinely get us back to where we need to be. Arteta is always used as the example. Some people use him as the example to keep Ten Hag. Some will use him as an example as you persevere through no matter what. But I actually think Arteta is more the exception that proves the rule as opposed to the rule itself. But I wouldn't mind a little bit of Inzaghi, but I don't know if Man United can get him away from Inter Milan right now.
But he also play 5 at the back though, Inzaghi at Inter Milan, and this is the thing. Like, don't you want to implement a style of play which is the same, where if the manager fails, the manager isn't just because that's been part of your problem over the last decade, is that you've switched from pillar to post on each manager.
I agree. So I don't personally care what the style of play is, as long as there's a uniformed approach from top to bottom, inside out of the football club. And if you get rid of whatever that manager is, the next guy comes in is of a similar ilk, so that the squad you've built isn't suddenly alien to him. So I'm not married to an idea of playing football. If it looks like Pep, great. If it looks like Klopp, great. If it looks like peak Jose but wins you major trophies and you compete, great. I'm not really married to it because I don't enjoy watching my team play. I don't watch Man United for entertainment. I watch just for us to win. I watch other teams for entertainment. So I don't really care as long as we're winning personally. But that is the risk, as you say. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Footy Mo, I'm sorry it upsets you, but there we go. Inzaghi plays 5 at the moment, but only one of them is a defensive role. So no, he plays super progressive football. I don't think that's what LB's anchoring onto, though. He's looking at the way Inzaghi plays and is saying that how many other managers play like that? If it doesn't work and you build a squad around that, what do you then do after that point? I thought that's more what LB was getting at, to be fair. Saying about records, I saw today, Man United's goals scored this season, 37. In 2024, Arsenal 31. Ineos need to do a major rebuild with this team. That's what they're here for.
Fair, man. Great.
Would I take, how about Unai Emery? Not on your Nelly. Unai Emery, the same as Poch and all these managers, they are not big club managers. Unai Emery right now is doing amazing and he deserves all the applause in the world. In my humble opinion, you put him in a club, the difference between Villa and Man United in terms of size, media attention, it's like comparing Peter Andre to Michael Jackson. There's a gulf in just, and I'm just talking media. I'm talking media attention.
Respect Peter Andre, man.
I love Peter Andre. I love a bit of mysterious girl, but the 6-pack was immense. He had a better 6-pack probably than Michael Jackson, to be fair. But the difference in media attention and noise is palpable, and I just think someone like Unai Emery would drown. I just think he'd drown at Man United. Again, by the way, it doesn't mean Zerbi wouldn't. I'm not saying he'd be able to handle it. With Unai Emery, I think because we've seen it, we know. With a manager that hasn't been tested at that level, he may drown, but you don't know yet. Does that make? I think with Unai Emery, we've now seen it with Poch, and there are other managers that, because they've had their chances. Because we're linked with Graham Potter, and to be honest with you, it's the Sun that are saying that, and I'm hoping this is the Sun being the Sun, right? Because if we think Graham Potter couldn't handle Chelsea, what's Man United going to do to him?
I know. You know what? The problem is, Terry, that there's no obvious candidate for this job. There is no obvious candidate for the job. You know, Zidane's not going to come to England. Simeone's probably going to be difficult to get out of Atletico Madrid. And then, you know, the Zerbis, the Potters, these type of managers, they're all in the same sort of bracket. You know, it's a complete gamble. Who knows what's going to happen? I think what United fans have to do, and this is going to be tricky, because you've not done this for a long time, but you're going to have to trust the people that are making these decisions and trust that whatever they do is the right thing and get behind it. And ultimately, don't judge them on the immediate decision. Judge them 6 months, a year later, when obviously you've seen actually what's happened. But there's no obvious candidate. There's not a lot of great managers out there right now.
There isn't. And going to be an interesting one. Viewers, let us know what you think and feel. What's some more super chats here? Does Zerbi with better players with Man United will work? It could work. The one where I would defend the Zerbi, and I'm partly doing this because I mean it, and I'm partly doing this because he might become my manager. But how much better could he be doing this year if he hadn't lost the players that he did? He's at a club where they sell their best and they have a much smaller squad. Man United's wage bill is £100 million a year more than Brighton make turnover as a business. So the resources he would have are bigger. At Man United, it'd be more about handling the pressure than it would be the style of football, in my personal opinion. But
and getting buy-in from the players as well, Terry.
Yes.
Because obviously these players haven't played that style, so you're going to take some heavy defeats.
They could, but you know what I think is? I think the players would buy into playing for somebody that's playing more progressive. I think an issue these players have. If you just look at Rashford, he's got a lot of friends at a lot of other clubs, and look how his friends at Arsenal, look how his friends at Spurs, look how his friends at City play football, and then he's sitting there thinking, "Look what I'm told to do." I just think that plays such a fundamental. If we all do the same job but for different companies, and Dan's sitting there, his staff room's amazing, company car's brilliant, his perks are excellent. I'm sitting there with the same thing. LB's also in a company where they're sitting there and they've got some dingy little staff room. The vending machine is overpriced. There's no free food. He gets a bus pass rather than a company car. You're gonna have a feeling of what's this about? I think that's where United players are really. Bruno gets the ball in midfield and doesn't know what to do with the ball. Thinks for 3 seconds and then passes it back. This is down to coaching and planning, whereas City's passing with their eyes closed. It's all about drills. It's all about drills and how to play. And how do I know this? My brother's a Leyton Orient fan, and got a very good manager there right now. 3 years ago, they weren't playing the brand of football they are now. A lot of the same players. They're moving for a League One team. They move the ball brilliantly because the coaching drills are there. So of course it's down to that. Rashford scored 30 goals last season. Why couldn't he do the same this season? We've completely changed our style of football to last year. That's exactly the reason as to why. The wide players are now being told to try and create more for the striker. The midfield is non-existent. So whenever we lose the ball up front, we know we're getting counted on. That gets into the players' heads. It's all part of the problem. Smash the like button, people. Thank you, my friend. Why can't Goldbridge want Ten Hag to stay? It's fan opinions. No point in fan channels if everyone agrees. No one said he can't think that. Thinking it's the wrong opinion isn't the same as saying you shouldn't say it. There's a fundamental difference. I know you've been watching for a long time, Carl. Saying I disagree with Mark is not the same as saying he shouldn't speak. Unless I'm wrong, boys. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading that. I don't know.
Absolutely. It works both ways, man. He's got an opinion. Other people have got opinions that people think Goldbridge is talking rubbish. Goldbridge thinks that some Man United fans and football fans are thinking rubbish. That's how it works, man.
Exactly. Did you enjoy bullying Tom, Terry? Okay, 6 versus 1. You said Jones's was a red card, but who? Carbido wasn't when he wanted to break Liverpool players' legs, not even an elbow.
Caicedo, I reckon it is.
Caicedo. When it was Caicedo, I didn't give an opinion on that on my stream, I don't think. I thought the reason why I didn't think that was a red card, it was on the ankle, not the shin. Jones's was a red card, in my opinion. It's not bullying Tom, telling him on the live stream that I think he's wrong about something. That's not bullying. Thank you. United should go for Ange. Well, mine a bit of Big Ange, a little bit of Big Ange. Ten Hag does have the best win percentage of any Man United manager. We have a squad of 4 different managers' players. No manager will win until that is fixed. Everything you say there is a fact. Everything you say there is a fact. But I think too much has happened for him to be the manager to help fix us and has got to move on. Doesn't mean I think he's bad. His win percentage is good. He does win a lot of games. But it's the way we perform against City, the way we perform against Fulham recently. The performances are what I'm judging him on. The performances are not good enough to make us win the major trophies, my friend, irrespective of the win percentage. Speaking of wins, speaking of goddamn wins, another huge one for you lot last night. And listen, Arsenal look like they could be champions right now.
Well, I mean, let's not go too far. There's still a long way to go, man. We've got over 10 games to play. This is where it matters. And we are absolutely demolishing teams at the moment, so for fun. And we get into a stage where we can actually chill out and we can actually bring on some of our players. I mean, saw Cedric come on last night. I forgot we had him. That's when you know Arsenal are winning comfortably, mate, when we can afford to make subs like that. I thought we were electric. I thought we were outstanding. I thought it was business as usual for what we've seen in 2024 of Arsenal. I have to say this. I thought Sheffield United was shockingly bad, man. Like, I have to say that to start with. To be allowing your fans to be going home 15 minutes in, and I don't blame them, by the way. You've had a bad day at the office, right? But let's be real. We are looking very good at the moment. Big up to Mikel Arteta. I think in 2024, he has impressed a lot of Arsenal fans more than he ever has done. Whether you are convinced by him, whether you don't really like him, whether you think he's the man, whether you think he's going to be better than Pep or Klopp, he has convinced a lot of people that what he's doing right now, everything he's touching is turning to gold. Now, we've got to do the deficit against Porto because not everything went right in 2024. Of course, we got done over there, but way we're playing, I fancy us to turn that around. I fancy us to do very well against Brentford. And then, of course, we sit back, we get our popcorn out, and we watch Man City, Liverpool relaxed. And that's what I want to be doing, man. Right now, we are scoring goals. We are actually not conceding many either. If you look at how good we are defensively, everything at the moment is going well. And it's very hard sometimes to do both of those things, Tel. It's very hard to get a balance between actually you're a really good defensive side, but actually you're smashing in goals as well. We haven't really had that balance for a while. And for me right now, I'm loving watching it, man. It's been fantastic. It's been enjoyable. I know for a fact that we are scaring teams, as everyone likes to say. I know that's true. LB, the boys that I know, Errol, lads that are supporting Liverpool and City, they don't want to admit it. Of course they don't. I wouldn't want to admit it either, but they're not enjoying watching Arsenal right now. They want us when we were losing to West Ham and Fulham. That's the Arsenal they want to see. They don't want us putting 6s and 5s and 4s past teams. They don't want us going to the Emirates and dominating a Liverpool side that's going for the title, beating them 3-1. They don't want them having 30 plus goals and hardly conceding any going to the Etihad when they've seen Marcus Rashford getting behind them a few times. They don't fancy that. I know for a fact. But we've got to do it, man. We can't sit there and talk and be all actions and actions. No, go and do it. Go and beat them at the Etihad. That's what they'll say. Man City fans will say that. Come on then. You've been great against Burnley and Sheffield United. Now come and do it against us. And I hope that we can, man. And that's the question mark I'll always have over it. Can we do it in the big moments? Can we get the last third of this season across the line? And that's the question we're always going to have with this side of this squad and with, of course, Mikel Arteta under this regime. At the moment, so it's looking phenomenal. I do want to mention a couple of players because I do think that sometimes we under-mention. Is that a word? I don't know. Go under the radar, should I say. Ben White in this new inverting role is phenomenal. Absolutely fantastic. What a footballer, by the way. A player that sometimes doesn't get enough credit. Allowed Kivior to actually look like a footballer now, not just a good left back, because he looked terrible at that left inverted role when he came and played in a couple of those games. I also think Jorginho and Havertz deserve a mention, and I'll tell you why. When we signed both of them, a lot of Chelsea fans were laughing. Absolutely hilarious, these two signings. They've signed two of our rejects. Both those rejects actually won a Champions League from, by the way, but two rejects that they bought. I was deflated. We signed Jorginho. We were linked with Caicedo. I wanted a centre forward like an Ivan Toney type. We got Havertz, and I'm like, better make this work, Mikel. And I'm not going to say that he has made it work, but he hasn't made them look like flops, in my opinion. Like Havertz was going to look like one, wasn't he? He's playing in midfield at the start of the season. I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going on with this guy? When you look at his numbers and some of his contributions now, actually, it stacks up okay. He's not been a flop. He's not been a horrendous signing, like I thought he was going to be. Jorginho, likewise. I look at what Jorginho has actually bought to Arsenal for 10 to 12 million pounds. He's paid us back that, man, in my opinion. He's been a good player to come in, and he's had some really good contribution for games. So I think those players deserve a mention. And Saka and Martinelli, I mean, people were trying to take them out of combined 11s and stuff like this, and they're no good. They've had a flop season. It's terrible to watch both of them. They're now starting to get on the score sheet as well. And Martin Odegaard is a pleasure, man. I'm sorry. Absolute pleasure to watch. So, yeah, man, I'm enjoying watching Arsenal right now. And people know me, I'll always call out the team and the manager when they get things wrong. And I'll always look at why we didn't win a game or why we didn't get 3 points from a game, right? Mm-hmm. But when we're doing well, I'm sorry, man. There's nobody that can sit there and tell me right now that Arsenal aren't the best team in the country to watch right now and aren't considered as one of the best in Europe to watch right now at this moment in time. That's where I'm at, man.
I know you hate Arsenal, LB. We know how much you hate them.
Yeah, man.
They just can't. They look unstoppable at the moment. Forget the goals a minute. 31 goals in the last 7 games. In those 7 games, they've only conceded 7 shots on target.
Yeah, that's wild.
That for me is the stat that could win them the Premier League. That inability of teams to be able to break them down and even get good quality shots off against them. That for me is the stat that if you're a City fan as you are, or a Liverpool fan watching, that must be the most concerning, really.
Is that the most concerning? It's one of the concerns. Obviously, listen, Arsenal in the league at the moment are flying, man. Like every time you watch them, they're just battering teams, man. It's actually crazy. Like I'm not gonna lie, I watched the first 45 minutes yesterday, and then I turned it off, man. I couldn't watch any more. I couldn't watch any more of that because I heard the Arsenal fans in the away end singing, "We're going to score in a minute," yeah, and it was true. It was true. I was sitting here watching it going, they're singing it as a joke, but it's actually true. They're going to score another one in a minute. And they did. You know what I mean? They was cooking. The way that they moved the ball, Rice is looking really good. I think this, for me, is the best Rice has played all season. The way he's going forward and linking up, he looks like he's really settled in now, looks confident in that position.
In that 8th position, man, attacking more.
Yeah.
He looks phenomenal, man.
He looks
phenomenal.
decent. Jorginho, he's going under the radar massively. Odegaard's moving the ball well. So yeah, like what can I say, man? Like, and I can't even say anything about the defense because like yesterday they didn't really have too much defending to do. But even when they have had defending to do against like Newcastle and that, they've done it pretty well. So listen, for Arsenal, they just need to keep getting the wins. Yeah, I wouldn't start panicking if you started scraping a couple 1-0s, like if the goals dried up a little bit, because it's all about the 3 points now. The goal difference that they've just absolutely smashed. I mean, they're +10 on City now. That's huge. That's an extra point come the end of the season. Yeah, so they've slammed it there. I think Arsenal need to beat City when they play us at the Etihad Stadium. And I know some Arsenal fans agree, some Arsenal fans disagree. I think
they will.
Arsenal, I'd like to think that we'll win, but I think they need to win. I think Arsenal need to win that game.
This weekend and the game they play against you is interesting because if you and Liverpool draw and they win and then go above you both, a draw could be good enough, but it depends on what Liverpool do. And that's why potentially. So that's why this 3-horse race is so interesting because it's not just about you've got another. There's always another factor there. It's not just about what you do versus City. It's Liverpool involved in it as well. But I actually do think Arsenal, with their current form and the way watching you at the weekend, you dominated us. But we still had 10 counter-attack opportunities against you. Now our final ball was poor, or the shots were off. Like Rashford actually should have gone through and scored when he had the ball wrong. There was a cross from Bruno that was missed by McTominay, and then Rashford took an air shot. That should be a goal. And there was 3 or 4 others in the game, and I actually noted them down because a lot of people have said City concede a lot of counterattacks. So I thought in the game, every time United counter, whether it ends in a shot or not, I'm going to note down the minute, what happened, why it went wrong. 10 times in the game. If you afford that amount of counterattack opportunities this weekend to Liverpool, and when you play Arsenal in a few weeks, both will beat you. That's not me shitting on City.
No,
I'm being really honest here. Because
it's a serious issue. The reason why I think Arsenal needs to win is because I don't think say City and Liverpool draw, right? Because that's where Arsenal fans are saying, well, we could draw the game if Liverpool and City draw. The problem is I don't see Liverpool dropping any more points after this City game because they don't play City again. They don't play Arsenal again. And I looked through the Liverpool fixtures towards the end of the season. There's only one real game that I think could be tricky, and that's Villa.
Yeah.
I think they beat everyone else.
Do you think Spurs maybe?
Nah, they're at home, bro. They're at home, man. They'll beat Spurs at home.
Not a slip up there, though. Not a draw, maybe.
They've got to come to Old Trafford.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so no, I'm not saying Arsenal have to win because I think Arsenal end up dropping points. It's nothing to do with that. I think Arsenal needs to win. By the way, I put myself in this bracket because I think City need to beat Liverpool for the exact same reason that I think Arsenal need to beat City at the end of the month. Is because I don't see who Liverpool drop points to. Look at their fixtures, man. But you're going to tell me Fulham are going to Fulham might take no points off them. Yeah, I mean, the only team that Liverpool have after City that I genuinely think could take points off them is Villa. That's it. That's why I think City need to beat Liverpool at Anfield. Whereas again, I'm sort of split. There's some City fans that think a point's okay. There's some City fans that think we need to win at Anfield. I'm in the camp of I think we need to win at Anfield because I don't see who Liverpool drop points to. And for that exact same reason, I think Arsenal need to beat City because I don't see how else that Arsenal bridge the gap to Liverpool. It's nothing to do with Arsenal dropping points.
I think you'll beat Liverpool. I think you'll beat Liverpool, LB. I don't know what they've got injury-wise, Liverpool. I've got a couple. I'd never know. Liverpool players all out
Trent, Jota. I think that's it.
Salah.
Alisson?
Salah. I think
Alisson's out.
I think Salah's back.
Salah's back, is he? Okay.
I'm pretty sure Salah's back.
Like Liverpool, like, oh my God, we got these players out for months and they're all on the bench the next game. It's like, what's going on here? Like, I think with Liverpool players that are out, they scraped over the line against Nottingham Forest. City can beat them, in my opinion. And I think you will. It's a hard place to go because Liverpool is a ridiculous place to go. I didn't realise there'll be until you said the last 25 years you've won twice at Anfield. That is ridiculous, mate. That is unreal. I had no idea that was a real stat. That is just
this Sunday, bro.
Crazy. But I'm lucky, bro. Yeah, I do feel you will do it. It's not going to be easy, by the way, because Liverpool, seeing what they clock can get out of some of these kids is incredible, by the way. I mean, that's going under the radar as well. But I just think City will do it, man. Haaland, Rodri, KDB, Foden, up against that. I think you will do it, man. I think you will. I think you should do it as well, if I'm honest. I look at it and I think you should with the players out.
I think so. I think we'll win. I actually think, in a weird ass way, I think the Arsenal game could be trickier. Because I just think Arsenal are just absolutely cooking right now. They've got the momentum, man. Momentum is everything in football. Yeah, momentum is everything. And Arsenal have this mad-ass momentum.
They've got great momentum. And they also get, now somewhat, they've got that I think they've got like an 18-day gap. And I actually think for this stage of the season, it's going to work out well for Arsenal. They just...
You think we'll win it, Tom?
I actually have Liverpool winning the league.
Wow.
They became my favourites of the weekend. I listen, out of all three that are in it, I want Arsenal to be the one that does it. Out of all three that can win it, because they're not my biggest rival. It stops Liverpool equaling our total, and it stops this dreaded 4-peat, which we should all be against, because City basically have a record that none of us will ever have. And I don't understand why anybody would ever want somebody to have a record they can't achieve. It's a weird thing for me. But when it comes to it's like this weekend, you're right. City should beat Liverpool. But so should Chelsea. So should Southampton in the FA Cup the other day. At the weekend just gone, they should have dropped points against Nottingham Forest. Now, City are so much better than those sides, but they are getting some players back. I think there's such a galvanized mentality at Liverpool right now that they just look they look unbeatable by hook or by crook. I'm talking about the referee decision with the drop ball. I just feel like it's going to be... I think City players, I don't know how you're going to do it. Maybe you've got to do a bit of an Arteta here and get some speakers in the training. The noise.
Don't do that.
Yeah, the noise this weekend. I think your bus is going to get attacked on the way in. It's going to get missiles thrown at it. I think it is going to be just a cauldron of negativity for Man City. And I think Liverpool this weekend will come up trumps. 2-1 victory. Very late goal. Don't know who gets it.
Wow.
I think City will get beat this
week.
I'm backing a City winner. I think City can go there and win. The loss of Jack Grealish in this game is actually massive because he would have helped a lot in this game. He don't do anything. What's
Chadwick going to do? Come on.
Jack Grealish, I'll tell you what he would have done. When we're under pressure, he can hold the ball up. Like you just said, it's a difficult place to play football. You need players that can keep the ball. You know what I mean? And he can do that. But listen, even without him, I still think we can win the game.
I agree with that comment, by the way. I think Jack Grealish would be better. I don't rate this Doku kid, man. I told you.
Well, Doku's not going to play. There's no way Doku starts that game.
Adama Traore.
He has to play Nunes.
Alan Maximan. He causes havoc but doesn't actually do anything or get anywhere or any output.
Lay off my boy, man. Lay off my boy, Jeremy Doku.
Weird to actually
see City. What's funny when I say that, though? Sorry, what's funny when I say that is Man City fans come for me and they go, well, Martinelli's been rubbish this season. Yeah, he cost 6 million, man. Like this guy was 55 million.
It's actually weird to see City have a really bad summer when you actually think about their signings. Like Kovacic's been okay. Nunes, You guys are better off just promoting 4 academy players. You'd have been better off promoting 4 kids than spending
Nunes
money.
was a panic signing. Nunes was a panic buy. Yeah, we was in for Bellingham, lost him. Waiting for Rice, lost him. Waiting Maddison, lost him. Waiting for Paqueta, lost him. We was on our 5th choice.
Imagine being treble winners and you have no Paul.
No, it wasn't about Paul, man. You know what I mean?
Paul, bro.
Paul. Yeah.
Treble winners and you
Real
can't
Madrid.
Paul, bro.
No, Real Madrid, yeah. Listen, it is what it is. They're the biggest club in the world. Even if you were the treble, you might not be able to get that.
So they have more Paul than you, granted.
Yeah. Well, they didn't when they wanted Haaland. You know what I mean? So we got Haaland of them. Rice had already agreed to go to Arsenal back in March. I was told back in March that he'd already agreed to join Arsenal. Maddison had gone to Spurs already. And then Paqueta got the gambling charges. I mean, it was a little bit unfortunate on that one.
Paqueta, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Rice had agreed, but your Paul wasn't strong enough to make him change his mind. Maddison, I mean...
He just didn't fancy the battle with Rodri, man. You know what I mean? Like, he thought, easy life, going to Arsenal, just get straight in the team. You know what I mean? He didn't want that battle with the likes of Rodri.
I think what it was, the players were looking at it and going, there's no point me signing this deal now because we're all getting sold in 12 months when they're found guilty. So what's the point? You know what I mean? I think that's what it was.
Fancy League 2, man.
They were like, yeah, exactly. Like, they're like, no, I can't be going back down there. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, Maddison was thinking, I've just got relegated once already. I'm going to get relegated again twice in my career. I can't be doing it. No, yeah, look, I just think, look, you're better than Liverpool this season. Something about this Liverpool campaign, Klopp saying he's leaving. Maybe I'm reading too much into the romance and the mentality side of it, but how they won the last 4 games in the last 11 days is different. Arsenal are the best team in England right now. You're playing the best football, best defensively, best at scoring goals. City are amazing, best team in the world, all that experience, best manager. Liverpool are great with an excellent manager. They shouldn't be where they are, but they are. And it's the fact they shouldn't be there based on the rebuild of the midfield this year, the injuries. Like Salah's been missing nearly 2 months with AFCON and injury. They're still top. They've won a trophy. I just look at it.
But that Salah thing though, that was a bit overhyped because I said at the time when he got injured, I said people are looking way too much into this. They'll win all the games without Salah because they didn't really have like a mad tricky game. But overall, you are correct. Like they shouldn't really be first. Like people was having them in a top 4 battle. They're slamming it. I think if they win against City on Sunday, I think it'd be very difficult for City to win the league then. Because they've also got a superior goal difference to us. So it's not just 4 points, it's 5 points.
Yeah, I hear you. Also, if you do draw an Arsenal win this weekend, you could argue they become favourites.
Well, for them, if they then beat City at the Etihad, you'd be in the bottom scenario again. If City draw against Liverpool, Arsenal beat Brentford, and then Arsenal beat City at the Etihad, with what there'll be 9 games left, I think. Arsenal should 100% go and win the league. 100%.
Yeah. If Arsenal win the next 2 games, and this game this weekend is a draw, my mind will then slip. And by the way, when I say this, the reason my mind is going to change a lot in the next 10 games is because it's marginal between you all. Does that make sense? This isn't. I don't think any one team is clear this year.
There's 3 quality sides. Let's have it right.
Exactly, absolute top quality sides. It's like when you guys won last night, I was sitting there watching the game, thinking to myself, 2 years ago, these were games that Arsenal would regularly slip up in. You will seldom now, for the next 3 or 4 years, see Arsenal lose games to teams that far down the pecking order in English football. But yeah, if City and Liverpool draw this weekend and Arsenal win the next 2 games back to back, that would also be 9 wins on the bounce. Arsenal then become my favourites, marginal favourites after that, if you win your next 2 matches.
Do you know what's mad, Tel, right? What you've just said there about Arsenal and Sheffield United there. These were the games that we slipped up at. You're absolutely bang on, man. The last 3 seasons, right, have kicked off on a Friday night. This season was Man City Burnley because Vincent Kompany come back. The last 2 seasons, we have won absolutely nada Arsenal. Arsenal have kicked off the Premier League season the last 2 seasons before this one against Crystal Palace and against Brentford. Why do you think that is? Because when we beat against Brentford, We lost under the lights. Arsenal went meltdown. It was brilliant. Let's do it again. More of that, please. Let's get Arsenal involved. Arsenal, they win nothing. Let's put them on the first game of the season on a Friday night. Palace, under the lights, destroyed them. Oh, shit, we better not do that again. They're all right now, aren't they? Let's just let Burnley and Palace and City play it out. That proves to me that Arsenal are relevant again. And they're not the ones to laugh at and banter. Now, listen, it could go wrong quite easily for Arsenal. You could look again and go, didn't get across the line again. But right now, we are a different outfit, 100%. And I think the way that we're playing this season, this year, in terms of 2024, people aren't looking going, I don't get this new style of play, or I'm not sure what Arteta's doing here. He's falling on this Havertz sword. Oh, this Raya situation is really not let him down. What's he trying to play Kivy or inverted for? All of this has changed. No one's talking about it now. No one's mentioning Ramsdale, who, by the way, plays on Saturday, but no one's mentioned it yet because Raya can't play because it's against Brentford, right? So it's his last game in an Arsenal shirt, potentially, Ramsdale. So this is what I mean. People aren't talking about it anymore because Arsenal are flying. They don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to watch all of our content anymore because it's not us having meltdowns. It's Arsenal are being happy. No one wants to see us happy. So at the moment, it's great to see. I hope it continues, of course. But I think this is so tight. And do you know what? I'll finish on this. I think this is one of the best title races or best seasons we've seen because you've got 3 clubs that are fighting for the top 4, 3 clubs fighting for the title. Pretty much all of them got to play each other, yeah, as well, which people haven't spoken about. Aston Villa have got to play all 3 of us. Yeah, Spurs got to play all 3 of us. You've got Arsenal got to play City. Liverpool got to play City.
Man United host both you and Liverpool. And I know we're awful right now.
Crazy,
and I know you're shaking your head. Man United will have a say in this. Man United will have a say in this because
on the goal difference, Terry. That's what we have a say.
Yeah, how many we let score the most? Like, listen, and do you know what's interesting? If Arsenal do win their next 2 games, do you know who the game after City is for Arsenal? And this will send shivers down the spines of City and Liverpool fans. You're at home to Luton. Yeah. And if you could ask for any game after playing City with what's remaining, it would be playing one of the relegation teams at home. Because you know what? It's pretty much a guarantee. I know they fight a lot harder than the Sheffield Uniteds of this world, but they're still not very good. They're still not very good. They afford so many chances. So honestly, I think guys are going to hit 10 wins on the bounce. You'll beat Brentford. I think you're going to go to the Etihad, and I think you'll beat them. And again, not smash them or anything stupid like that. I just do. I think you will. I think it will be one of those 2-1s, cut the counter-attack goals.
I hope
Saka,
so.
Dunking on Foden. I hope. I need this 4-Pete to not happen. I'm not even going to lie. I need it.
I'd love it, man. I'd love it. And I agree. I think we do need to go there and win. The only thing that would change that is, of course, if things go differently. But I personally feel that we have to go and win.
Wait. Let me come in on that because you just said unless things go differently. So what do you mean unless things go differently?
Unless we bloody lose to Brentford, because then I think we're completely done, man. We got to then.
Can I ask you a question about that? Do you think Arsenal still have the ability to bottle this in them? Do you think you could still bottle this situation?
I don't think we can this year because we haven't got anything to bottle. We've not been 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points clear, have we? We've been chasing the pack, so there's not really a bottle. We can't really bottle something that was never ours. I think that it was so close to us last season that we did bottle the league. We were 8 points clear. I know people say it was 5 because City had a game in hand that they won, but we were 8 points clear. The points were on the board, and it said Arsenal 8 points clear, and we bottled it. I don't think we're in that position this year. I don't know that all 3 of us can bottle it at the moment because there's been a point in it, 2 points in it, max, the whole way through. Can you bottle a title when you're 2 points behind? I don't think you can. So I think it's very, very hard for any of us out of the 3 to bottle it this season. But for me, Arsenal just got to do their business now. We go beat Brentford, and then we can sit and chill. And then the business, if we can do it, it's going to be hard because they're a quality side, man. Our Man City are ridiculously good, man. Let's just have it right. They're unbelievable. But I've seen some frailties this season from City. I have. Doesn't mean we're going to go take 3 points off them. Doesn't mean we're not going to lose to them. What it means is I think we have our chances to go and actually have a real good go at this. And I will say this. We haven't had Man City in the last 4 games with a fully fit side. I think Rodri was out for the Emirates. Saka was out, though. And then for the game at the Etihad last season, Saliba was out. at the Emirates last season, Partey and Jesus are out. So we've always had big players out. I just want to play Man City's 11, best 11, Arsenal's best 11. Let's see what they're about. And I think the neutral should want that as well. Let's just see who is the best out of the two. I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited about the running. It's all I've got, really, to be fair with you boys. That's it. I'm just living, like that some parents like live kind of vicariously through their children. I'm doing that for other people's football teams. I'm just I'm living through all of your glory.
I've been there though, man. I weren't long ago. I was doing that, man. So I get it.
It is kind of my job as well. To be fair, it's kind of my job.
Yeah, but as enjoyment as well, though. Like for you.
Yeah, no. Again, I'm excited about it because I love the shows we do. I love the reaction stuff. I love getting fans on and getting their opinions. It's why I started this fucking channel like all those years ago for that exact reason. So, and we haven't had this scenario since the YouTube world really taken off, where you've got 3 teams, top teams, big fan bases, genuinely fighting it out. We haven't really had that. And there's another little added flavor in this season, which could happen. You could also find Arsenal and City facing each other in the Champions League, which adds another dimension to a title race, because I know it's not in the Prem, but I know, get that in a little semi-final. It's just all of this. I think it's going to be an amazing end to the season.
Imagine it going down to the last game, LB, and then we've got you in the Champions League final a week later. That would be mad.
Well, it happened in 2008. Chelsea and Man United competed for the league, then Champions League final, and
that was the last time that 3 teams really were going for it. That was Arsenal, United, Chelsea, wasn't it? That was the last time.
That period from like 2007 to around about 2010, for me, pomp period of the Premier League, where every year there was 2, 3, 4 teams from England that could win the Champions League, all competing for the Prem. And yeah, it feels like we're getting back to that heyday now of multiple teams being in sort of title races.
Yeah, like let's be real, Spurs and Arsenal were never really genuine. Like, wow, I think they're going to go and smash this league. Like,
nobody was very good.
Nah, exactly. Everyone was rubbish. That was true. Everyone was rubbish that year, really. I mean, Spurs were that good. They ended up coming third in a 2-horse race. Just want to get that one in there.
That's why you get that in there every show, man.
Got to try it. Trying to every show, sometimes
I'm going to throw into this show. Arsenal now being looked at as they won't bottle it. They're on the edge of this. Do you guys remember my conversation with Sava about 5 weeks ago, where I was like, I actually think they have a better chance this year, Arsenal, not being the favourites and being slightly behind the leaders than actually having a 5-point lead. And I wasn't just saying that because I twerk for Arsenal fans, although most, including LB now, doing Arsenal scary videos, holding his face on his camera. Like, we're all doing it. Do you know what I mean? We're just giving our honest opinions. I wasn't just doing it to twerk for Arsenal. I genuinely believed that. I felt that everyone was right. They did bottle it last year. They didn't have the mental strength to maintain that. But they are sort of going under the radar slightly. Even right now, it's still kind of happening. I just think they'll handle it better this year, but we'll see. We'll see what progresses with that. This is a question for you, Dan. It says, are you win in or win out?
Yeah. Win the dog. Win the dog, bless him. Listen, I'm not really for this PR stuff. Ain't really for me. Give me a trophy, not a dog, and I'm happy. I don't really do all this stuff, man. This is mad. Like, just win me a trophy. And don't. And if you don't win a trophy, don't go and buy a gerbil and call it trophy. Do you know what I mean? Just win a trophy.
Can I say this though? If you guys had been winning and you guys got a dog, if you had been winning and you did a documentary, if you've been winning and you did the social media posts that you do, if you've been winning and you're rolling out the legends to sell merchandise, do you think some Arsenal fans, including yourself, would see it not as PR, but just as
100%
how normal clubs are being run? Because Man City are winning and they do a lot of PR stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone does it, win, lose, or draw. But it's interesting how it's perceived when you're not winning versus when you are, is what I'm asking.
And I think that's what you've said there is the reason why Arsenal fans, or some of them anyway, are a bit like, come on, this is embarrassing. Like, you buy a dog called win when you don't win. And like you get another, when you you lose a game of football, and then Ian Wright or somebody will come out and have a new shirt on for all of us to buy. Doesn't matter. Let's just go and give us more money. We've lost again, but go and there's another shirt for you. That kind of stuff does get frustrating when you lose. 100%. When you win, I don't actually care what the club does because it's winning. I think what frustrates fans is when you don't win and you start doing stuff like that. That then becomes rather cringeworthy and embarrassing. That's what it is.
It is, but where I'll defend all clubs on this is they have to keep you as engaged as possible and buying things to maintain the money to try and get you back to winning. So it becomes, if they stop doing all of that and fans stop going on the website, stop buying the clothes, stop buying the merch, you wouldn't have the money to compete. So it becomes,
and I get that as well. I get that as well. I totally get that, and that's a fair argument.
Get the frustration. I just
the emotion and the frustration. It's like we just lost the game, and now there's a bloody shirt coming out again, or they've bloody got the dog out again. That's the problem. Yeah, I'm saying.
No, I do hear you. By the way, speaking of shamelessness, did you see last night? Did you see Lee Gunner celebrating 29's goal? I saw his clip.
He did it.
He celebrated it. The mask is slipped. I told you, since Lee Gunner got glasses, he's seen everything. He's seen the light. He's been in a bad. He's been in a bad mood for 4 years because he had a fucking headache because his eyes were hurting. Like, as soon as he sorted his glasses out, he's a happy man again. I saw the clip. It's part of a show that's coming out tomorrow on the terrace, and I just
big up.
It was good. Do you know what it is? I know a lot of people hate on Lee.
On his behalf, can we get an Aston Villa fan on here, please? Like, what's happening? Like,
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I never cover him.
I love Lee, but I read that and I thought that's hilarious, man. Like that.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Like, big up Lee. I was happy. Do you know what I genuinely felt as a man? I was happy to see him happy. Like, I just really was. I was like, yes, Lee, celebrate a player scoring a goal. Well done. It's good. I'll be at Arsenal versus Porto. Expect 3 or 4 considering.
Let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. That's what we need. We need 3 or 4.
Banter on the pitch here, who's a gooner, says Arsenal will beat City 3-1 at the Etihad.
Wow. It'll be difficult.
Okay.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's see, innit?
We won't do predictions. We'll wait until we get to that game.
Yeah. Terry, what country showed the Champions League on Setanta? I think the Ukraine, if my memory serves me right. But go on their website. It lists it all on there for you, my friend. Oh, my God. I just realized who's in that picture. Let's have hope. Trey, the football gods, please don't anger them. Which Trey? Because you know all the Treys are the same person for every club, right? Arsenal's Trey is the same as United's Trey. It's all just... Yeah, Arteta is creating a culture. Don't moan about win.
Yeah, well, this guy's a dog
lover. Man. Win some games, yeah. Dog lover there, I tell you. Listen, this isn't about...
You would say that, Spencer, with a profile picture of a dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it, man. I love dogs. I love all animals, yeah, but it's not about the animals you're buying. It's about winning trophies, man.
I prefer dogs to people, if I'm being honest. They're so much nicer. They are, honestly. I've got my dog. Other than my children and immediate family, I'd save that dog over every other human being I know.
Man. It'd save you as well. They're loyal, man.
Of course. Always happy to see me every time I come in. Arsenal versus City Champions League final. That would be epic. That
would be, you know. I actually agree. Like, let's be real. I'm not saying it will happen. We got to get across Porto first. But I think at the moment, if you're looking at who is playing the football they're playing, I think Arsenal and City right now, it would be an unbelievable final. Unbelievable final. So, yeah, man, let's see. Let Real Madrid...
I thought you was about to say you're better than Milan and Real Madrid there for a second, bro.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it would be an unbelievable final. You can say whether we're better than Inter Milan and Real Madrid and have that debate if you want, but I think that would be an incredible final.
What debate? Are you better than them?
That Real Madrid and Inter Milan. That's what you said, LB?
Yeah, but you said we'd have the debate. Do you think you're better than either of those sides?
Terry wants the debate.
Right now,
no, this is content.
Right now. We're playing better football right now, but we're not better football clubs than them, in my opinion. I mean, Real Madrid, come on, man, Jesus.
I really want you to get an Inter Milan or Real Madrid. Genuinely, to see how you handle that sort of occasion.
Well, we're going to. If we get through Porto, we're going to have to get one of them, aren't we? We're not going to avoid them after that. So I think, we're going to get a Barcelona, we're going to get a Madrid, we're going to get a Bayern Munich, we're getting Inter Milan. We could even get yourself, LB. So, yeah, man, it's going to be...
I think Arsenal can beat Inter Milan. I think Arsenal can beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think Champions
they're better
League,
than you, but I think Real Madrid definitely better. But I think you can beat them. It's just going to be very hard. Very hard.
It's really hard, mate. And people will look back and go, "You couldn't beat Sporting Lisbon, mate. You couldn't beat Olympiacos. You couldn't beat Villarreal." Different team, man. Completely different team. We were playing rotated squads against them. You won't believe. What did you say?
I noticed that you didn't include Porto in that list, sir.
Well, we haven't had the second leg yet, mate. We might go out.
It's only half time, LB. It's half time.
Okay,
Calm
okay.
down, brother. Calm down, brother.
Okay.
But you are right. You know, we've slipped up against Porto, so that's why people will always have it, and that is why people will always still question Mikel Arteta until he gets us across the line. And there's no evidence. You can't get the up with that. You got to say fair play. He hasn't done it. You can't sit there and moan. You know what I mean?
No, no, I hear you. Look, I think there's probably 2 to 3 teams that you say outright. But by the way, I think you're better than Bayern Munich. They're awful. Do you reckon they're going to go out tonight? Do you reckon they'll go out tonight?
They got a chance because all Lazio can just sit deep and just try and hit them on the break, can't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe they will. You know,
I've watched Bayern Munich a few times. I think Arsenal would beat Bayern Munich if the two faced.
I watched Bayern Munich against Man United. I thought they were shocking, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they weren't good. They weren't good.
Honestly, I was surprised.
I mean, if they go out, that's basically Harry Kane 0 because they're not winning the league. They're 10 points. They're not bringing it back. They're 10 points behind.
Dusted.
That's finished. Alonso's the champion. Bayer Leverkusen champions. Imagine you go to a one-horse race Monopoly League and you don't really think.
That's horrific.
It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. It's actually funny. Like, how can that happen? Like, that is just unbelievable.
I think that's honestly, I know obviously a lot of it will be on the manager in that and like the board, but I do think that really does negatively impact Kane's standings in the rankings of like the all-time greatest strikers, because ultimately I don't know he has scored goals. I'm not saying that he's gone there and bombed, but like ultimately, like the best strikers, the reason that they're up there and we don't include strikers that have scored 50 goals a season from the Conference League or like the Sunday League team is because they're doing it under immense pressure week in, week out. So we usually go for strikers that are in league titles year in, year out. Strikers that have done it in the Champions League, and World Cups and have scored goals in finals. Yeah, and that because otherwise we'd include, you go down the fields on a Sunday and go, oh, this guy scores a goal every single week for Sunday League. Like we don't include them because they're not doing it at the top level. So whilst of course Harry Kane is one of the greatest strikers we've seen, I do think this negatively impacts his standings because ultimately, like, the guy just can't win a single trophy, man.
He can win individual awards. He's got a lovely cannon to pick up at the end of the season. That'll be nice for him when he gets the goal of the season. The golden boot.
Do you know what's crazy about it? Like, I agree. I think when you think about your club's greatest strikers, you think about great goals, but nearly all of those goals you're thinking about led to titles or won titles.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about most of them, they did. Or they were in a period where you were winning trophies. And look, they can come again next year and win things. And with Alonso probably leaving, that's probably like that's a huge benefit to Bayern Munich because they'll get a new manager. They'll spend some money. Bayer Leverkusen won't be the same team next year, in my opinion, without Alonso, and they'll probably go on to win it. But I still think it's an embarrassment to go there with the riches they have, the experience they have, the monopoly they have. And they're not just being beaten to this league title. They are being demolished. They are being absolutely demolished. And they only won it last year because Dortmund bottled the last day of the season. So I don't know. They're not that good a team at the minute. But yeah, I've got a feeling they might go out tonight. PSG will go through, no problem whatsoever. This here says Jesus will be the difference maker versus Porto in the second leg, is what Spencer believes.
Yeah, good to have him back, man, I must say. Really good to have him back. Party looked bloody rusty as hell last night when he came on, but that's kind of to be expected after having nearly enough 6 months out. But I must say, like, having these players back is going to be huge, mate.
Does he get back in the team, though, Dan?
Say again, bud.
Does he walk? He doesn't walk back into the team, does he?
Who, Party?
To Jesus?
No, not for me. Not for me. No, Jesus doesn't. Not the way we're playing at the moment, mate.
I was going to say, yeah, he'd be on the bench,
man. I don't think he does, and I don't think that's a bad thing, LB. I really don't. I think it's good to have.
Kai Havertz got to start. Kai Havertz is in great form.
He is, man. I think the way that we're playing at the moment, I don't think we're going to be swapping the team too much. But it's good to be bringing on the likes of Trossard, Jesus, Emil Smith-Rowe still there. Fabio Vieira come back on last night. Party, as I mentioned, come back on. We still got Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, and Timber, who are literally a couple of weeks away as well. So they're coming back at the right time for sure, man.
Now, a penny for Chelsea fans' thoughts, as you kind of mentioned it earlier, with Kai Havertz now really playing well, Jorginho an integral part. We haven't really mentioned it on the show. They drew again at the weekend after another poor performance. And I know that Chelsea fans are still putting on this brave face that I'm so glad Kai Havertz has gone. Do you guys believe him?
Yeah.
I think some will genuinely be happy he's gone. Yeah, some will, because when I did watch him at Chelsea, I didn't really get what the guy was doing. But there'll be some fans out there who just genuinely believe that Chelsea didn't utilise him in the right position. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I think when Arteta signed Havertz, I said at the time that could be the signing that gets Arteta the sack. And I stand by that comment as being a fair comment at the time, because he spent
I agree with
65
that.
million
I think
quid.
that was justified. Yeah.
It was a completely justified comment, but you got to give credit to Arteta because the signing seems to be working. Probably not quite justifying 65 million quid, but it's working. So you got to give him credit for that. But listen, Chelsea are just a complete and utter mess. We all know this. This manager, I'd rather have Ten Hag. Honestly, I'm genuinely not joking. I'd rather have Ten Hag than Pochettino. Ten Hag won a Carabao Cup last year. Yeah, what's Pochettino ever won? We won the Trophy de France with Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, I'm not being funny, mate. That's not exactly difficult to do. Yeah, and again, these people that go on about Pochettino, about what he's done in the game. What's he done in the game? Oh, he's good with kids. What are you talking about here? What are you, honestly, man? It's unbelievable. It's actually, I don't get it, man.
You got Tottenham into the top 4 into a Champions League final, and that is a trophy, apparently. So
yeah, and listen, he got him into the Champions League final because Ajax crumbled, and then in the final, it was a pretty poor display, really, wasn't it? I don't think Kane probably shouldn't have been picked, yeah, because he wasn't fit. He bottled that decision. You know, he went to PSG, didn't do very well there. You know what I mean? So honestly, man, like I don't get the hype around the Pochettino. This team is in the bottom half of the table. The bottom half of the table. They are in the bottom half of the table, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they are. They're 11th. And people think that this is all right. It's like, trust the process. This isn't like, at least Arteta was bloody 8th, you know what I mean, in his first year. Like, this guy's in the bottom half of the table. Wolves are above him. Newcastle, who've had a shocking year, and people are talking about, oh, is Eddie Howe going to get sacked? I just think it's ridiculous. Where football's gone, where we're sitting here with £1 billion squad, and people are saying it's okay, just give the manager time. I just think this is absolutely just a wild situation.
Yes, we obviously had Don come on the show a lot, and Don likes to do a lot of deflection. So, like, he kind of really goes in on Man United so much harder than he does his own club. And I kind of get it because they're a rival, but it's sort of, there's always a reason to defend Chelsea. There's always the manager's bad, but these things are all really good. Still goes in on like Kai Havertz. And I'm like, well, Kai Havertz is performing well, scoring. He's on track to have his best ever goal scoring season as a footballer in a team that could win the Premier League. And you kind of, it's not a dig at Don. It's just what I see certain Chelsea fans doing. It's like,
I love Don, man.
I love Don. But honestly, they focus on a missed pass from Kai Havertz, or Man United are as bad as us. And I sit there and think, when you sit in a glass house, you don't throw stones.
Yeah,
it's a mad one to me. And the amount of Chelsea fans still backing Poch is crazy to me. Watched them this weekend against Brentford. They had good moments, and then they had terrible moments again. And I look at it and just think they need a complete reset. It isn't just getting rid of Poch, same as United. It isn't just getting rid of him is going to fix it. But that man is a bona fiable, overrated bottle job. Some of their players also nowhere near the standard they need. But at the same time, for me, it says Don is correct about the lot, but we understand why he annoys rivals. It's not so much about it's annoying. It's with Don, that's why I love Don. He'll criticize, he'll go in on Poch 100%. But then when it comes to the rest of Chelsea, it's negative, but there's always a silver lining to it. When it comes to his analysis of everybody else, it's that shit, that's crap, that's never getting better. And I laugh. I find it hilarious. I find it great, if I'm being honest with you. Because when it comes to his own club, he's living in cloud cuckoo land.
Don's in the chat, man. Big up, Don.
Where's Don at? Well, you there, bro? Well, there he is. I can't believe this. Send me the link. There's only room for 3 on the show. I don't have the backdrop to add 4 people. That's not even a lie. I literally don't have the thing set up for 4 people. But no, listen, as I say, Don's just an embodiment of a lot of Chelsea fans I see online that are just Like they've got. And by the way, how do I know this? Because Man United fans do it, and they also annoy me. Like Fran Shade for when
Every
you're
fan
in the
base.
mud.
Yeah.
Arsenal used to do it for years as well. It's like, I don't know. I'm a little different. Like I'll criticize, but there's criticizing and then there's shade, and they're two fundamentally different things. And so many Chelsea fans still, and Don ain't in this category, by the way, that are defending this manager, that think they're gonna just be all right. I don't even want to sound horrible to Chelsea fans. Like, you're not going to be okay if nothing changes with the manager, the transfer policy, and who's running your club. Those three things have all got to change. If it doesn't, you're going to stay in and around this level. How do I know that? I've been talking about my club for 10 years. If we don't change who's running us and how we're doing it, and we don't improve in those areas, we're never going to get better. And we haven't.
I think they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble under Todd Bowley, man. I'll tell you that. He's reckless. It is how not to run a football club, in my opinion.
Well, here's another thing, Potts, right? You're on Pochettino. Is it like, let's just say, for example, some Chelsea fans are like, no, we've got to give him more time. What happens if we get to match day 10 next year in the Premier League and they're 11th?
So are you
going to sack him? Well, if you're going to sack him, you should have sacked him in the summer. Are you going to give him that whole year as well? So, like, for me, like, this is where I disagree. People say, well, where should Chelsea be? I think Chelsea should be around 7th, 8th or 7th. Yeah, but that's only four places above where they are now. Yes, so he's underachieving. So sack him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
LB, it's also about how you're playing. And this is the thing. If they were at the start of the season, and Don called me out on this the other day, and he was right to, but and I'll own it. First 2 to 3 months, including preseason, I was like, they looked like they were cooking something. They looked like there was an identity there. It's gone. And I don't think it's coming back. You could argue if you give him 3 or 4 experienced players, he can turn it around. The Arteta example of a manager starting off really badly and turning it around, especially at a club. Look, the thing with Chelsea is they've not been in the mire for that long. Man United's a long rebuild because it's 10 years of craziness. These guys are Champions League winners a couple of years ago. It shouldn't. Yeah, maybe we're off key, but I don't personally think that we are. We have some super chats here. This one says, "What does that mean?"
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Poch did nothing. He challenged the weakest Premier League in modern history for 6 years. True. Jesus will be. Already done that super chat there. And that one. No, there's not new ones. I didn't unstar them. That's my fault. So there we go. Viewers, I'd love you to do me a favor. That would smash the like button. I'd love you to subscribe. Remember the new channel, the squad. Scan that QR code below. About 6,500 of you have already been over there sorting it out. But make sure you get subscribed and turn bell notifications on. The content over there is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to show it to you all. Terry, you would love Pochball at United, be honest. Nah, I never wanted him at United. I didn't. I was always like, not sure on him, not convinced. I think he's a bottler. And he's proved to me that he is a bottler. Jamaican Ute says, get rid of Poch, get rid of those directors as well, and also call out Egbali and not just Todd Terry. Yeah, listen, everyone running the club, like the owners are not going to go, but they need to change the people running it because their plan is not working. But Chelsea can be turned around pretty quickly. They had 4 or 5 experienced players, a better manager, and better football decision makers. They can turn it around real quick because they haven't been in the mire for too long. If this becomes 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, it's a much bigger oil tanker to turn around. You've got to act quickly. You've got to. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you. LB, Dan, always a pleasure to sit and speak football with you two boys. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all.